Cameroon, ranked 43rd in the world by FIFA, will be traveling to the World Cup for the 8th time in their history. The indomitable Lions are nothing if not entertaining, and we can only hope to see some of the trademark dancing in Qatar. Their first ever World Cup qualification was in Spain, 1982. They would record 3 draws in succession, first in their debut effort versus Poland, then Peru, and then the mighty Italians would reach their defense for the very first time in the tournament in the 60th minute, and their own first goal in World Cup history would come just 1 minute later. After the 0-0 draws in the first game, this 1-1 draw would obviously not be enough to see them through on their debut efforts. Deciding to avoid the hand of God and the likes of Maradona down in Mexico in 1986, the Cameroonians were back for the Italian edition in 1990. However, the hand of God would follow them to their first game at the famed San Siro in Milan. To say that this game was nuts would be an insult to crazy, from a questionable straight red to the 10 men being gifted a shot goal via a phenomenal howler from the Argentine goalkeeper and his opposite number completely standing on his head. This game embodied the spirit of the World Cup like no other. It looked like Maradona was wearing a blanket of defenders, and they were literally karate kicking him Mortal Kombat style. In the words of Ray Hudson, they were more nervous than a Beirut grocery run. But the indomitable Lions would hold on despite losing another player to the red card and finishing the game with only 9 men. And this was just the first match of the tournament. They would record another famous win versus Romania in the second match, but were absolutely trounced by the Soviet Union in this third game, a team that curiously would never play in a World Cup again. The round of 16 versus Colombia would go 0-0 to extra time. They saved all of the excitement for a 9-minute span of overtime that would see them through to the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, here they would face Gary Lineker's England, and it would take extra time once again in another thrilling match, but the English would extinguish the Cameroon dream 3-2, and they would bow out. However, not before we were privy to some wonderful, wonderful entertainment. 4 years later, there's only one reason to remember the 1994 World Cup on American soil for the Cameroon faithful. It's Roger Milla. At 42 years old, he would come on at halftime in a truly horrifying, disastrous third game versus the Russians. Despite losing 6-1, Milla would net their only goal and would set the record for the oldest player to ever score in a World Cup, a record that still stands to this day. France 98 was rather disappointing, as a tough group draw saw them draw Austria and then Chile, and then they would come up well short once again against the Italians. They were back. Korea, Japan, 2002. This would be the first tournament that we would see famed Samuel Eto'o on the field in a World Cup match, but they would be unable to defeat the Irish in the opening game. A win over Saudi Arabia would see Eto'o's first goal in the tournament, but combined with the 2-0 loss against the German machine, it would not be enough to see them into the next round. They would skip Germany in 2006 and make it to 2010, and it's okay. They weren't the only ones to fall prey to the samurai that was Kazuki Honda in this tournament. He would score the only goal for Japan to beat Cameroon, and then they would suffer back-to-back losses to the likes of Nicholas Bentner and the Danish, and Robin van Persie and his Orange Menace to cap off yet another disappointing display. A terrible, terrible draw down in Brazil would put them in a group with the hosts, Mexico, and also Croatia. They would only be able to register 1 goal across the 3 matches, bowing out in disappointing and forgettable fashion. Unfortunately, that would be their last time at the World Cup, as they would skip Russia 2018, but they have qualified once again this year for yet another very tough group with the likes of Brazil and main man Alexander Mitrovic and the Serbians, who is absolutely on fire. The stern test against the Swiss will start the tournament and could prove very pivotal right from the off. The indomitable Lions will no doubt need a result in their first two games because Brazil are looking ridiculously mean. They're going to look to channel the spirits of the likes of Francois Oman-Biek, Roger Milla, of course, Rigobert Song, and Sami Eto'o, whose names would light up any Cameroon fan, just like the goals these guys have scored over the years. Milla has 5 and still is a record holder for the oldest player to ever score in a World Cup, and Samuel Eto'o has 3 goals in a Cameroon shirt at the World Cup. Hopefully they can call back to the days when they took down the mighty Maradona and surprise a few in Qatar.